to Changing the Narrative, the podcast that looks to change the narrative of discussions that we have today. I'm Jay.
And I'm Godwin.
And today we have our special guest, Franklin. Hi, Franklin.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. So, who is Franklin Boateng? Franklin Boateng is a entrepreneur, first and foremost, because he runs a number of businesses. A self-made millionaire.
Oh, God.
Not
anymore.
Also a social media influencer, even though he hates the term. Also a brand strategist and developer of all things that support the community, most importantly.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, welcome, Franklin.
Thank you.
Before we begin, what we'd like to do is sort of have an icebreaker question, and we specially curated 2 questions for you. You can answer whichever one you want.
Yeah.
And then we would move on from there.
Okay, cool.
So the first question is, if you were stuck on an island and you could take only 3 items with you, what would they be?
Oh, man. 3 items stuck on an island. That's a good question. My mobile phone, my laptop, and food, I guess. I need to live. I need to live.
Food is important.
Yeah,
It's
food.
important, right?
Yeah, I need to
So
live.
how would you get signal for this laptop?
Well, I don't know.
and
Stuck on an
mobile
island. I mean, that's the
a good
thing.
point,
That's a good point. You never know. But I guess assuming you need, like, if you're stuck there, you'll bring some. I guess you have to bring something at work. So I don't know. That's a good point. Very good point.
I know why he'd bring a mobile phone, because he doesn't stay up.
I don't stay up. Yeah.
He's always on
my
his
phone.
mobile.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because
Yeah.
it's always to ask me what I would take, because I'm more like survival mode. So it'll be like, you need something to hunt with.
Okay.
You need something to make food
Really?
with, and also
Yeah.
you need something to make fire, which are
Yeah.
the 3. But it's interesting that, and it also shows that.
But you see, that's the thing. It's the way you asked the question. You said, "What would you bring?"
Yeah.
So if you're stuck on what's the things that you will search for? There's different. You know what I'm saying? So then then I'll have to search for those things. But it's what you would bring. I guess maybe I should have thought more about that desert island.
No
Yeah.
worries. What about you, Jay? What
What would I bring? Ooh, I don't know how it would work, but some sort of music. I can't live without music. Music is like life to me. I would bring. What else would I bring? Oh, I can't bring technology, which is a problem. I would bring food if I could, because obviously if you can have that, you can survive for a little longer. And also water.
Okay. That's
good.
good. That is good. That is good. Well rounded. And also the second question is, if you could describe yourself, and I think Jay, when we were speaking about this question, she said, she's smiling. She said she knew what you were gonna pick. So she said, if you could describe yourself as a chess piece, what piece would it be and why?
My nickname's King of Trainers. So, but the king can only move a limited amount. So I'll rather be the queen, because the queen can move kind of everywhere, every direction, and that's how I do business. I move all over the place.
Okay.
So the king only is like one step at a time in different directions now. But I'll probably have to be the queen. Chess piece.
Okay, so King of Trainers, that's a nice segue. King of Trainers. So how did you get that name?
Well, it's a nickname. And it started like in the early 80s. My mum had a love for tennis. She liked Boris Becker, so she would aim to try to get me the trainers that tennis players wore. Because back in the 80s, my mum would buy me just order the market trainers and stuff like that, and I would literally just mash them up, very quickly. And then she just wanted to buy me quality stuff so that she wouldn't have to keep on buying me all these like market trainers, things like that. And so she went out to actually try to find me a pair of what Boris Becker, she thought Boris Becker was wearing. He had a Puma deal where he wore Puma trainers and a less clothing deal. And then she would try to find me like the trainers he was wearing. And literally in school, my nickname was King of Trainers. So, and it was just amongst my friends. It was like they kind of used to tease me with it and stuff. And then I took it and ran with it. And it is what it is now. Yeah.
I think my question was more like, reflecting on myself and collecting trainers at an African home, like that's something that's unheard of. Cause
Yeah.
usually
No.
you get the one pair. And,
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, and that's what it was. I still did get the one pair of trainers and one pair of shoes, but because my mum didn't want me to mash them up,
Yeah.
you have to,
Yeah.
to take care of it, and that's kind of what led me to build a collection. And growing up in Tottenham, trainers were like a gold medal back in the day. You have
Yes.
a nice pair of trainers, everyone's looking at you and stuff. So that's how it was,
Yeah.
So,
You
yeah.
managed to build a nice collection. How did you do that?
Yeah. Just took care of them, to be fair, and just kept on buying and buying when I had money. Just kept on buying and buying and buying trainers. And then what I did is I converted that into social media many years before Instagram and stuff. And I used to post on when MySpace was around and all these different platforms. And then when Tumblr came, had a blog on Tumblr, and then had a little group on Twitter. I set up my own social network and had a little forum, King of Trainers forum, and rest of the Twitter, and just started to kind of build from there. And then JD Sports tried to take me to court over the King of Trainers name. About 2011, I think 2020, so around that time. And my friend tweeted on Twitter, Nike own Just Do It, that's unpossible nothing. Why doesn't JD Sports speak to the real King of Trainers? They used to use King of Trainers as a tagline, like in the 90s.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. But they kind of stopped using it to some degree around 2003, and changed their branding from white, blue, white and blue to black and yellow. And they changed their whole profile and branding. So they kind of dropped the name a little bit. But then when my friend tweeted this, whoever was running the social media at the time got very upset. And it started to attack me saying, oh, he's an imposter, blah, blah. Not knowing for me it was a nickname before they had it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it wasn't like, I wasn't trying to kind of compete. It was nothing like that. But they thought I was, and they sent me a legal cease and desist.
How did you feel when that came through?
You know what it is? For me, I was like, I'm not... Anyone else would have got scared. I don't...
Yeah, I was about to say,
anyone else...
Were you not shaking going, oh my God, cease and desist from a massive corporation?
Yeah. Because you know what it is? I've been in business like 20 years. At that point, it was probably, just under 10 years when they sent me that.
Yeah.
And I've been through so many things in business. So it's the way they approached me.
Yeah.
Which made me was like... anyone else would have got scared. I reckon anyone else would have been, oh my God, I'm in trouble and stuff. Yeah. But with me, I look at any form of communication as an opportunity, even if it's bad communication. Especially if it's a brand. I'm in this sneaker world. I've got a little Twitter page at the time. I am the King of Trainers as a personality. Let me kind of build on that. And they were like, you know what? No, we're taking it to court. So I contacted them and I said, look, I want to work with you guys.
Okay.
They came back to me, their lawyers came back to me and said, no, you've got like 7 days to comply or else we're taking you to court. And the letter was very, we're going to sue you, all these different things that they said. And for me, I just used it as an opportunity. So I learned everything there is to know about trademark law, about before they were going to file. Or basically the 7 days was up, I phoned the lawyers and I said...
Can I take a on that point? Because I think that'd be really interesting for the people watching.
Yes.
How did you teach yourself about trademark law?
Google's your friend.
Exactly.
Google's your friend.
Yeah.
You see, we need to use the resources around us at any age we are.
Yeah.
We use the resources, and that's what I did. I literally just sat down and looked at trademark law. And I looked at statutory law, which is proper law in the physical world. Yes. But online law is completely different. There's a whole... It wasn't even developed to how it is now. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, when they sent me a trademark, and shout out JD Sports now, it's all love now. When they sent me that they had the trademark and stuff, they registered it as a retail trademark. But online law is completely different. And there's a little kind of grey area, like... If, for example, you have a brand called Africa Chica. So if you said, I'm the queen of African clothing, and you're using it literally since you've been a kid, like, you can take claim to that. Does that make sense? Like, no one can tell you that's not your name. It's your name.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's like a 7-year stipulation. But I've been the King of Trainers since the early 80s. You get me? It's like, it's a nickname. It's nothing I took to be like, oh, I'm battling with anyone.
Yeah.
So then what happened is when I researched it and I found a few grey areas and I spoke to the lawyers. The female lawyer I phoned them up and I said, it's the King of Trains on the phone. The female lawyer came on the phone and she was like, oh, you can't say that. And it's me, actually, I can. I said, actually, I can. And then she started to speak to me. And I said, I just kind of broke down what I knew. Because you see, one thing about law, it's not... The British law of this land is based on what you can prove you know.
Yes.
They will hide things from you, even though you're entitled to it.
Yeah.
It's what you prove you know. So when I was saying a few things that she was a bit like, oh, he's not. He knows his stuff. It's not just that we're going to just send him a letter and he's going to bow down. So we had a conversation and she tried to sway me because she said, no, JD Sports is a big company. Don't you understand? Trying to kind of like bully boy tactics.
Yes.
And then she asked me, what do I want to do? And I said, I want to go to court. At that point, it was like, oh my God. Oh God, this guy's not going away.
Serious? He's not going.
Yeah, he's not going. And this is what it is. So the first letter they sent to me, it was like, dear sirs, very like damning, damaging. Like, dear sirs, this is all these different points they're going to do. We found it somewhere. That letter actually. And then
you needed to find that letter and frame it
Exactly.
because I'll have it on my wall.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I need to.
Every morning
I remember
wake up.
scanning it, and I've got it. I sent it to myself in an email. I've actually got it. I found it recently on one of my hard drives, and then there was this like very like damaging. You've done this and done that, all that type of thing. But then I said I'm going to court, and she was like, okay, can you please send me your legal representative, like maybe solicitor's details, so she can send it to them so they can speak about it. I said, send the letter to the same place you sent the cease and desist. I'm defending myself in court.
Yeah.
She was like, whoa, on the phone, like, and I think she was like, who's this guy? But I was just willing to go to court. The law is the law.
Yeah.
And I was reading the law. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I didn't feel that I needed any legal representative, but maybe in hindsight, you kind of do because there's certain ways they speak and all that. But I was going to go to court, and I had the whole thing set out. I was taking my mum with me. She was going to explain the story. Maybe I was being naive at the time. But
I don't think like just to come in. I don't think it's being naive because I think when you say, for example, have a parking ticket and they threaten,
and it's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah.
Oh, no.
You've read the law and the stages
I know
of the
Chico with the
parking
parking
tickets.
ticket.
Yeah.
I know
And so
Chico.
you're like, I know what to say. You can't
exactly.
take me. And it's a similar thing.
Yeah, and that's what it is. The law's the law. There's so many things that happen that you feel that, oh, they're going to take me to court. I haven't paid this bill. They do all these different things to scare you. But then when you actually look deep down, there's a lot of things that they can't and they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And this was kind of one of them, because anyone else with what they like, and I was willing to go to court. And if I'd lost, I mean, at the time I had quite a few bit of property. I would have had to sell my property and pay them off. I would have gone bankrupt. Do you get what I mean? But I was willing to do that. So what I did is I got them to send me the thing. The woman on the phone, you could tell she was like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on.
I can't
She
believe
probably
it.
went back to them and said, he's different. He's not gonna just give us the name back and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
So they then sent me a letter, probably like about 3 months later. Like literally, I was waiting. I was like, about 3 months later, they sent me a letter saying, "Dear Mr. Boateng, we're gonna not pursue this any longer. You're kind of free to do what you want." And this is where it actually gets interesting because this was probably like a year or two after Instagram had started. I had a personal Instagram account for me Fabs Network at the time, which I later changed to Franklin Boateng. And then I said, okay, let me just check if King of Trainers is available on Instagram. And it was. So whoever was doing their situation at the time wasn't being like, okay, we got to shut this guy down.
Yeah.
Every new platform, we just register King of Trainers. So that even he's got the Twitter, eventually we can just muscle him,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to kind of stay idle. So what I done, I registered the Instagram. And then at the same time, what they did is they relaunched the campaign. There's only one King of Trainers.
Mm-hmm.
So that campaign is only one King of Trainers. They actually launched it in Tottenham Hale. I'm originally from Tottenham. And if you go on Tottenham Hale, the one-way system, on the side of the JD Sports, on the side of Tottenham Hale, they've got various on King Trainers, the biggest writing, like proper 6-foot letters, like
That was a
King
statement to
Trainers.
you
Yeah.
to let you know.
And then they launched a campaign, undefeated King of Trainers, undisputed, and it's me who we had that back and forth with. But you know what? God being so good, in lockdown, they reached out to me and we work together now. Like I do some promotions here and there for them. We work on campaigns. They featured me on their social media, on their website as well. So, and I'm it's all love. I really have a lot of love and respect for those guys.
That's a good and powerful story as well. And I think one of the things when we started this podcast is to try and highlight these sort of stories.
Thank you.
But I think today's, the episode we're discussing and, the topic will come on to is, being an entrepreneur and an entrepreneurial mindset. And one of the questions we wanted to ask you was, at what point on your journey did you realize this is the right path for me?
I mean, I'll be honest, I've from a very young age, I've always been some form of hustler. Like a lot of people have these stories of they were selling things in the playground and all that sort of stuff. I really was doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, everyone who knows me, like, Frank, since I've known Frank, he's been on the ground.
With the sweeties and
everything. I had, Mum, I have to give credit to my parents, man. My parents worked really hard, right?
Yes.
And my mum would literally buy me, like, you remember the Matchbox cars?
Yeah.
For like £1.
Yeah.
And stuff, and I had the best Matchbox cars. So me having the best Matchbox cars, I can trade it for. I had leverage. I didn't even know what leverage was at that age. I didn't even know what leverage was at that age. I could get a cap gun and remember the little cap guns and stuff. So I trade my car for a cap gun, or I was very good at that from like a very young age. You get what I mean? And then growing up in Tottenham, unfortunately, one of my best friends got murdered very young. So my mum would send me to Canada and New York in the early 90s to stay with my aunt, get out of trouble. So I don't, some holidays was crazy in Tottenham. So I was staying, and then every time I'll go and buy like a pair of trainers in the States and bring it back for my friends. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But the way I made money is, say they gave me like £100, the trains might be $100, but back then it was like 2 to 1.
2 to 1.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we didn't. No one knew that. Like I knew that, but they didn't. And so if it's $100, I'll tell them it's $100. They'll be like, "Ah, it's cool," because they're happy to get an exclusive pair of trainers.
Yeah.
So I was making. I was doing reselling before it was even a thing. Do you know what I mean? In the early 90s. Do you know what I'm saying? And those stories is what I tell on social media and what allowed my page to kind of get big and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I remember I was at a shop called Genesis, like the day that Cameron picked up his jacket, his old boy jacket. He wore, he has the old boy, the tune. He picked up his jacket. I saw the jacket. I got a picture of me standing in front of the jacket.
Yeah.
Like before he picked it up for the thing. So and this was like 2003, 2004. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so all these things, and I'll be honest, back then I didn't know how significant all these little pieces were gonna be. Yeah. And it allowed me to tell these stories now. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
So I've always been into just finding a way. Do you get what I mean? And I've been through some really crazy losses, business wise. So, but I just found a way.
So, I mean, we'll get onto the life of an entrepreneur
and
the ups and downs, because we can share some stories there.
Indeed.
But yeah, definitely. So, how would you define success?
Do you know what? That's a very good thing, because I remember when I was younger, one of my university projects, I had obsessed with success, like kind of like drawn on my stomach. Success when I was younger, right? I wanted to make $1 million before I was 30. That was all I wanted to do. That was my driving force. I said, I want to be a millionaire before I'm 30. I want to be a millionaire before I'm 30. I was fortunate enough to kind of invest in property, and I probably hit $1 million in property about 26, 27.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Then nearly lost it at 28, 29. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
When the credit crunch happened. And at the point where I was buying a property and I'm doing this and I called myself the broke millionaire, because I had $1 million in property, but I had no
liquid assets.
No cash.
No
You know what I'm saying?
The whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a big
So
thing, isn't it, right?
so I thought being a millionaire and being able to call yourself a millionaire was successful. Until I nearly lost it all, and I couldn't liquidate my properties quick enough. I mean, my tenants. I had 3 properties, and 3 of the tenants weren't paying their rent. You get what I mean? It's you had to go through the legal route, and you're kicking out money, paying free mortgage. It was crazy. So at prior to me turning 30, and I was I thought, once I'm a millionaire, you know, and making a millionaire. You know, I remember I was on a Gary V's podcast in the States, and I remember we was discussing this, and making $1 million back in the early 2000s or 90s. It was like making $1 billion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like
I've got money.
you know what
I've
I'm
got
saying?
money.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what me and Gary Vee were talking about, and it was so crazy because it was a universal thing because he's obviously he's from the States. Everyone knows who Gary Vee is, but it was a universal thing. But then when I thought that was successful, until I nearly lost it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I saw real success was when I managed to turn my passion for footwear and fashion into an income.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then, and also that helped me meet a lot of people and kind of be here today.
Yeah.
And that's what I call success.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think we're talking about the entrepreneurial mindset, and I think one of the discussions I had with Jay prior was that oftentimes everyone says, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an entrepreneur," and it's brainwashed, and I think it's so normalized.
Thing. Yeah.
But then I always push back and I say, no one's stopping you from, but if you're doing it because you don't like working for anyone, it's really not the right path.
No.
If you,
work
but as
harder.
you said, if you have a passion, then I think that's always, because there are going to be days where you would think of quitting, and I'm sure you've had many of those
every day. If you don't think, what am I doing every day? You're not really.
Yeah.
You're not really in that zone.
Yeah.
Like every day, you're like, oh, am I?
Should
Yeah.
I be doing this part?
Yeah. If you think that, but you see, for me, I've been doing it so long, and I'm not even against getting a job or working 9 to 5. It's just that it will have to be the right situation for me personally, because I've seen so much of business, and I work with companies. I work with many different companies. I work on so many different projects. I don't mind it, but it's doing what I do is a different type of freedom. It's not even something I can really put into words. Yeah.
So if you had to speak to a younger person
Yes.
now,
Yes. Which I do, by the way.
I know you do.
Yeah,
I know you do. And
Shout
you
out my
had to
students.
inspire them. How do you think you'd do that?
Well, you see, inspiration comes in different ways, right? It comes in a way where you can say something to a young person and they can take it in, but you have to also actively show them what you're saying. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I could easily be like, oh yeah, do this. And this is why sometimes a lot of teachers, when I was younger, the reason why not saying I didn't respect them, but I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you
Do
didn't
get what I
feel
mean?
the alignment.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I was like, what are you doing? You've got to show me what you're doing. Yeah. And I mean, look, when I was younger, I was making money. I was driving better cars than the teachers to school. So it's like, it did give me that cockiness, if I'm honest.
Yes.
So when I teach, I lecture at various colleges, universities across the country, and I always give my students the practicals of what I've done to where I get.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I always try to tell the young people is there's no real shortcuts. You have to put in the work, and consistency is the cheat code. Even if it's a micro thing, don't think you're going to rush and get this money, because you can. People go viral every day and then they make the money and whatever happens. But that's like 1 in a million.
Yeah.
When it comes to success, consistency is the cheat code.
Yes.
Even if it's micro, okay, I'll spend 10 minutes a day doing this, an hour a day doing this. But you're consistent so much that it turns into something.
Yeah.
When I started my Instagram journey to, okay, I'm going to show people I'm the king of trainers, like on social media, I was doing 20 posts a day for 3 years straight.
Okay.
Yeah, 20 posts a day for 3 years straight. And I told them and I showed them, and they see on my page, like, it's not, you see, you can always give advice, right?
Yeah.
But I can show you advice. I can show you what I've done.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
You can ask other people about what I've done. And that's where I feel the students kind of, the young people and the students that I speak to, they respect it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because there's so much noise in the world. Oh yeah, go and do this and go and do that, go and do this. The young people, they ain't got time. They need to see you doing it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They need to see, have you done what you're telling me to do?
I think you definitely with this generation, if they don't see you doing,
Yeah.
they're like, who are you to give me advice?
Yeah.
And
Who are
there's
you
now
to actually
community
say
notes on
something?
Twitter
Yeah.
where they'll fact check you as
Fact
well.
check you, yeah.
Fact
They will
check
do
you
it.
and say, yeah,
They'll do
well,
it. I tell my students, Google me. I said, Google me. Make sure that you believe in what I'm telling you.
Believe
because
in the source.
because the problem is, it's back in the day when we were younger, right? You go to a library, innit?
Yeah.
The library, you thought the library was the absolute truth.
Mm.
You thought everything truthful. I found in the library, it's the truthful. But that's not. Now we know that's not the situation. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And now the kids are more savvy. So if
Yeah.
I'm telling them, oh yeah, you could do this and do that and try to kind of speak on the upper level, and I'm not doing it myself, or I haven't done it, I can't tell them nothing.
Yeah.
They're not gonna believe it.
Yeah, it's true.
You need to be able to lead by example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of those ways, just to tie it back in, is you leading by example. Is I think one of the questions they would ask, because you said you were a millionaire by 26, 27, and you almost lost it all. So how did you bounce back from that? Because I think that's what in life we all go through challenges, and a lot of young people would probably be experiencing similar things.
For me, it was having good friends and family around. That's number one. A lot of people drop themselves out. That's what happens when you're not successful no more. People are gonna kind of not be around, which is okay. That's how it goes. But also for me personally, even though it crushed me, right, I have a Kanye West self-belief.
Yeah.
I believe in
we all know that self-belief.
No, I believe in myself so much, and it's really hard to, when you're teaching a young person, to tell them you gotta believe in yourself so much. No matter what happens, it's gonna be okay. If you believe in God or whatever, God's gonna bring you through it. You see what I'm trying to say? You might not understand it, but God's gonna bring you through it, and that is really what kept me sane and solid. You get me? Even up to today, I've gone through so many different losses that I'm like, what is going on? You know what I mean?
But do you think that's part of the entrepreneurial journey? Because obviously
it is for some. No, for some.
I don't know one entrepreneur who hasn't gone through.
Well, some entrepreneurs go at different times, innit? So some people get so successful and they make it, and then they're looking right. Some people don't have to struggle the way I've struggled. Do you get what I mean?
Do you not think so? As black people in business, we do have to struggle a bit more.
Well, of course, 100%. Even with all my successes, people still don't email me back and all that. I've been on big platforms. They're like, oh, it's just, it is what it is. And I think it's wrong for when people say there's no racism in business, there's no this in business, there's no that in business. It exists. It's just how we navigate through it and how we choose to adjust ourselves. Because there's a lot of things that I go through. I'm like, people are just throwing in the towel, just gonna go a 9 to 5 and stop what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think everybody can be an entrepreneur?
No.
And why not?
You need
that was really like
Like, no.
Yeah. Because you need to want it more than like. It's like it's hard because I have lost relationships. Yeah, being an entrepreneur. It's like you need to want it more than you want anything else.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you need to want.
That hustler mindset, right?
Yeah, you need to want your whatever dream you have. You need to want it, and for me, some people go to the gym, some people go on long walks, some people do all this. For me, working hard is my therapy. Working hard gets me through the day. Like I love working. I love working hard. You get what I mean? And that for me it just drives me. That's why my mind's. I'm always thinking about something. I wake up thinking about business. I go to sleep thinking about business. Do you get what I mean? It's something I actually love. I'm obsessed with it. And not saying you have to be like me. I'm not preaching you have to be like me anyway. But you need a form of mad obsession for you to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. Because you're going to work harder than working 9 to 5. Facts.
Yeah.
Because I've done both, right? I've done both. Yeah, so exactly. I know what that world is
Trust
like.
me. Exactly. So
and how, just to ask you, Jay, how was your sort of transition from, working the 9 to 5 and then becoming an entrepreneur?
Okay. So I was in quite a high position when I was working corporate. And I think for me, the transition was something I always said I wanted to do, especially in the last probably about 5-6 years. I was just like, I've done this corporate thing. Nah, it's not for me. I think when I was about 10, I said one day I want to have my own business. Didn't know what the heck it was going to be, but I'm going to have my own business. So I always had that dream somewhere. But, it's nice. It's comfortable. You've got a job that's paying you a nice salary. You could drive a nice car. I got comfortable, I'm not going to lie. I got comfortable, and then got to a stage where I knew the corporate world wasn't for me. It was really a hassle. It was a lot of work. I was putting a lot of hours in. I was going to bed at 2:00 in the morning, working for somebody else, building somebody else's dream, and not being appreciated for it. So we got to a stage where we got to COVID, and it was like, right, okay, I can't do this anymore. I need to find a way out of this. And then I'd already at this stage, literally probably about 3 months before COVID happened, taken some images for my brand, and then kind of transitioned. As like, when we went into COVID, I was like, right, that's it.
Yeah.
I've got to give it a go. This is my only time. So that's what I did.
No, well done, man.
Well done. Yeah. And I think going back to yourself and Franklin, we've been doing some research on yourself, and you spoke about working with young people, and we just want you to sort of give 2 minutes just you highlighting some of the work you've been doing in the community, and also some of the successes that you've generated from those.
Thank you. So what a lot of people don't know about me is I've been teaching social media and business for about 15 years. Basically, during the time I went through my bad patch, I partnered with a few people to kind of tell them and talk about business and kind of the pitfalls of business, and then I started teaching social media. For various, I've done talks with so many different companies, from Ernst & Young to Barclays to Facebook to, I've done talks everywhere. I currently do a few lectures at Cornell College of North East London. And I had a class, my own class, at a company called Diva Apprenticeships, where I teach in digital marketing. And then I also do something called Summerversity, which I do regularly. Summerversity, I do that with Islington Council, a company called Lift. It's a youth service in Islington, where we teach t-shirt and training design, and we teach social media and how to be an influencer and all these different things. So I've been doing this for a long time. I'd done a TED talk once on the social media mind, on trying to get social media embedded into the curriculum.
And
this is like 10 years ago. I've done it. Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah, nearly 10 years ago now.
I mean, that's interesting, because that's something we spoke of, I think, even in the previous episode, that we spoke on, how in today's age there is the access to information called social media that people don't have. And it's about how arming, the generation and the youths to be able to capitalize on it. As best as possible. But yeah, do continue.
Yeah, no, and that's, I put a course together called Social Media for Schools, which is now defunct. But my whole idea was trying to get social media taught at probably at like infant level.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it was about.
But didn't you get a lot of backlash from people? The social media police.
No, not the social media
the
police.
Harms of
not me. It's just
media.
I wrote to all the kind of schools and councils, but I didn't really get the feedback to kind of come in. Now they're like, yo, come through. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But back then it was too soon. That was 10 years ago. And like, this is the thing. Like, I think I was just ahead of my time with a lot of things. And that's kind of.
There's a shift. I don't know if you guys read this, but quite recently they were saying that they want to take social media away from people under the age of 16.
Yeah.
How do you think that will impact?
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know if they're able to do that, if I'm honest, because the legal age. Well, I shouldn't say legal. They haven't enforced it, but the age where a lot of young people are allowed to be online by themselves is 13.
Yes.
So it's gonna be very it's gonna be a very difficult one to harness, because what happens is a lot of parents are out working, their kids are at home. We have to be really honest about this, and this is kind of why I said that it should be rather taught to the kids early,
Earlier.
and so they had the conversation with it because they can teach us a lot of things about social media. But if we say, okay, look, these are the guidelines. I remember when my son was like 2 or 3, I will take him, I'll give him the iPad and ask him what he likes and what he doesn't, and he now I can now just give him my iPad and I know he's not gonna fight. Like I just
Yeah,
know,
because
you know,
given the
I just
Yeah.
The
know,
right tools to make
yeah,
sure
to
how to use it properly.
yeah. You know, he's not. You know, if this person's swearing, he switches the like these types of things. You have to kind of let them understand it. You know, you're gonna come across a video where someone could be swearing. What do you do? Do you continue to listen to it? Then you know what I'm saying, like. So I know, like, I'm very confident in what I was doing back then, and I tried. But I feel that now to just take it away from them, I don't think it's a good
I
idea.
think the ship's left. the
Yeah.
ship's left
Oh,
before.
long ago.
It's too late for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's a good point you made because I think obviously it's about arming the children with the tools.
Indeed.
Because in other countries, children are using social media, and I think that's one thing people argue against, which is if other countries in China and in Russia, etc., are using these tools to better the kids and arm their kids for the future. If we limit our kids to 16, by the time they get into that space, then what is the point of them being in there?
And I also think with that kind of point of view as well, do you know, it's like I went to an all-girls school, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's going to be off topic, but it's like when you hold something back
Yes.
from people, they go the
the
actual
opposite.
Trust me.
So you like, for all-girls school, half the girls left and became pregnant because of that. So if you do that with social media, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's better to let them be exposed to it.
Yeah.
And
But
then,
teachers teach them, guide them. It's everything's a conversation. The kids are so intelligent now. They got kiddie coding and things like that.
Yeah.
So let's guide them, arm them with the ammunition so they can make the best decision. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna. I did a little Google search because the University of Google asked me to do, and it came up with 10 key qualities of a great entrepreneur.
Okay.
I'll ask you if you agree with these.
Okay, go on.
Okay. So, 1, being a dreamer. Do you think you need to be a dreamer?
Yeah, to some degree. Indeed, you have to have something you're going for, because then what are you doing it for? You can't keep on doing it, and not knowing where you want to go. And sometimes you may not know exactly how it's going to pan out.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But you got to dream about something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you have a dream and then you wake up and say, right, from that dream I want to make it a reality.
Indeed.
And it's like you set yourself a goal.
Indeed.
So you kind of have that thought and then you got that drive to therefore go.
Indeed.
Yeah, let me do something with it.
Indeed.
Okay. You need to be decisive.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. Because the thing is you have to take action, and if you don't know how to take action and make and execute, you will never really get to where you're going. Do you get what I mean? So, I would definitely say you have to be this. You have to be like, okay, cool, because I always say that a lot of entrepreneurs, they spend too much time. Oh, this has to be right and this has to be right. Forget all that.
Yeah,
Forget
I think I went on a course once and
Uh-huh.
then they spoke about the minimum viable product, which is you just need to get yourself to a stage where your product is minimally viable to enter the market.
That's it.
And once it's done, everything else from there.
That's it.
Trying to be a perfectionist at the beginning is not
long.
going to work.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Okay. Entrepreneurs need to be doers.
100%. Sorry, 100%. I mean, nothing gets done as an entrepreneur. That's why I do have an issue sometimes where everyone wants to call themselves, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm this. I call myself a business person because I want to get business done. I don't, because entrepreneurs it's a very glorified high level title of I'm doing something.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I call myself a hustler.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but what are we actually getting done if we're not getting? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so you have to be doers. You gotta get it done. The rest, what's the point?
Exactly. Okay. Entrepreneurs need to be determined.
Yeah, 100%. Because no one's coming to save you. No one's coming to save you.
Oh, those days. I think of those days where you're thinking, oh my God, why have I done this?
Yeah, no one is coming to save you. So you gotta be determined and believe in yourself. You'll be there by yourself. Hey, yeah. So Yeah.
And we say that as well. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will believe in you.
No,
And
100%.
And that's what you said. That was one of the things you said. Key
Indeed.
things at the beginning.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have that strong
Self.
belief
You
in
have to.
yourself.
You have to. Yeah.
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 Okay. Entrepreneurs need to be dedicated.
100%. 100% dedicated, because you it's like I said, it's micro, then major. Consistency is the street code. So if you're not dedicated to the cause, then you're not gonna get it done. Do you get what I mean? And look, I get it. Sometimes we stop things. We all do it. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
I've started and stopped 100 things. Like my GoDaddy account, I've got 100 domain names. Do you get what I mean? Like, because I have ideas all the time.
Yeah.
But one key thing I've consistently been is the King of Trainers. That's blossomed into so many different things. So yeah.
You need to be devoted.
Yeah, of course. You have to, because what's the point if you're not devoted? Like, yeah.
I think this is self-explanatory, and you've spoken about it a lot. But being detail oriented.
Indeed, but don't let it waste your time. Yeah, don't let it waste your time. Time is too precious. In this entrepreneur world, time is too precious. So you have to not feel that, okay, I need to get everything right before I start. You start, and then those things can fall into place. Obviously, do your basics, don't be silly, etc. But at least, you know.
I think that's a really key point, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's a really key point that a lot of people could take away. Because a lot of people think, I have to get it.
No.
To be honest, I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
I know.
And so I'm like, but sometimes you just have to run with it.
You have to do it. I look, this is, let me show you. This is my media device. I film all my content here. I do everything here. Some people are like, oh, I need to get a good camera and do this. No, I do this. And when I started, it was an iPhone 6 or something. It was mash up. And I just done all my video there. And this is what's taking me around the world.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? So sometimes you just got to use your resource around you and just get things done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I like this one particularly. It says where or entrepreneurs are destiny designers.
Yeah, but yeah. Because you are creating something for somebody, whether it's a service, a product, so that's helping someone else's destiny. It's like, so 100%. Yeah, 100%.
And also when you grow your business as well, you then also designing other people's destinies, because when you have stuff that you take on.
Indeed.
Someone said it to me and it's like, oh, I have to worry about them giving birth and their first child. We're experiencing things like their first child, and I'm responsible for that. If I don't give my 100%,
you're feeding families.
You're feeding families,
and that's what it is. Like but then also, even if you're feeding families, you also have to learn to cut off people if they're not doing if they're not doing the right
That's a
thing.
really important thing.
Yeah. You got to learn to cut off people and make sure that they know not to mess around. Yeah.
And entrepreneurs, we're on the ninth one, coming to the end.
Yeah, well, okay.
Entrepreneurs are dollar driven.
Yeah, you gotta make money. You gotta make money. No, yeah, we have to stop the bullshit. Like, you have to make money. Like, you get what I mean? Or else, I get it. If you're doing something which is a social enterprise, a charity, and a good cause, that's fine. That's not necessarily entrepreneurship. Do you know what I'm saying? That's more good cause, charity. I'm a good person.
Need to build in,
But I need to make money. I need to get to the money. So 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Would you say that's one of the key poignant things?
Yeah, because you're not gonna but I want to kind of preface, like, you're not really gonna make money just like that.
Yeah.
But you
not
have
at
to
all.
understand, exactly. You'll probably make a loss for your first 3 years. But you have to understand how the money's gonna, and figure it out quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I've done this. I sold it for this. Okay, I made a loss. I sold it for this. I made a loss. I sold it for, okay, I made a profit. How can I replicate that profit in micro? Not everything has to be big. Micro.
Yeah.
And then hopefully it can turn into something.
Yeah. And the final one, entrepreneurs are distributors.
Of course. Service, product, we distribute. And let's be honest, like, most entrepreneurs are people who just do the same thing. We all sell something.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
we just do
definitely.
exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
We all sell something. So it's not like when people say, oh, you can't, okay, it's a crowded space. There's never a crowded space. There's always going to be something to sell.
How many billions of people are
Yeah, there's going to be something to sell.
there?
Look at Amazon, right? Amazon, started in 99? No, 1990 something.
I feel it's 91, 92,
yeah.
yeah.
And before Amazon, people bought
There was
books.
DHL.
They had people bought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People, but he just found a little bit of a different way for people to buy. You get what I mean? The same
Yeah.
thing with Spotify. It's a different way for people to listen to music.
Yeah.
Same thing with Uber. It's a different way for people someone to buy a cab, and they just reinvented the wheel.
Yeah.
And now they're the biggest companies in the world.
Yeah.
It's very, very simple.
And
It's just we should not limit ourselves. Yeah.
yeah, that is a good point, because when we speak about, black people and speak about race and the community, oftentimes we get a pushback that like, oh, we can't occupy these spaces because
Oh no, we can.
because someone else is there. And I always give the Amazon example, the Apple example. When Apple first came out, Nokia was one of the biggest phone
man.
manufacturers in the world. I think they amounted for about, I think, 50-60% of the GDP of Finland at the time,
Yeah.
which was massive for one company. And now no one really speaks of them that well. But
It's crazy.
That's because you gotta bring your own mark,
Indeed.
your own tools, your own product.
Indeed.
And the what's it called?
Speaking
Market will.
speaking of Apple, sorry, I just want to add something.
Yeah.
What is Apple to you guys?
What is Apple?
Yeah, what is Apple? What do you think Apple does?
I think for myself, Apple is a couple of things. One, they've managed to master the art of marketing.
Yes, indeed, I agree.
Because I go on training, talks,
Yeah.
tours, and people use Apple as an example as the epitome
Of marketing. Agreed.
And I
yeah.
think that's one of the things that they've nailed right on.
Okay.
And I think the second thing is them being a tech giant.
Tech giant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
Said.
That's good. And you?
For me, definitely tech giant. And I would say innovators.
Okay. Cool.
For me, I'd say innovators because yes, they've taken things that were already out there, but they've kind of
They've done it
switched
differently.
and they've done it differently.
Cool.
And they've made people buy into it so much that everybody wants it. So you've done something good there, right?
But one thing you both didn't say is
Yeah.
Apple is the biggest financial institution in the world.
Really?
Yes.
Apple have more credit card details and bank account details than any other financial institution in the world. They have over a
interesting.
billion,
That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
and they make money on transactions.
Yes.
So
they
every
do.
time you buy something with your Apple Pay or they take something from the App Store,
Yeah.
they're making a percentage on that transaction.
Yeah.
So this is what they don't say. Apple is the biggest probably bank in the world. If Apple wants to set up a bank now, which they probably might eventually, we'll have 1 billion customers.
I think they're launching the Apple Card one day. I think.
Yeah,
I'm not-
it's
yeah.
all happen. Everything's just by design. Apple's the biggest financial institution in the world. Then Samsung and then all the other ones.
So you don't
yeah.
really sit there and look at it like that.
Oh, no.
You kind
Yeah,
of see the
because
Barclays and
It's
the
yeah.
world of the world.
Oh no,
and you
they're
The
know-
traditional
nothing.
banks.
Yeah.
They're nothing compared to Apple. They're nothing compared to Apple. Apple is the big. Apple's got the most money reserve I think in the world.
Yeah.
So So it's they're not the biggest company now. I think LVMH is now the biggest company, but
Really?
in terms of a financial institution, Apple's number one. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I think one question I had for yourself is, if you can go back in time and speak to your 15-year-old self, and I think the
That was
reason
a
why
good one,
why
yeah.
I asked this question is because we're in the UK and we're seeing a lot of rise in violent crime, etc., especially in London,
Indeed.
and a lot of young people seeing that as one of the ways that they can obviously survive. So what advice would you give yourself as a 15-year-old child? Because I think, from my point, a lot of these things are cyclical.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
I remember when I was 15, there was violent crime a lot. Like
Yeah,
I
was.
lived in
Yeah.
Bermondsey, which is near Peckham,
Yes.
and that was a rough
Indeed.
time. And
Indeed.
so, what advice would you?
So I guess for me, I would probably say start younger and faster. Do you get what I mean? With everything I'm doing, everything I'm doing now, start younger and faster. And I believe I kind of did, but I would have done it a lot sooner, and believed it can be done a lot sooner. Because before me, coming into the footwear world as a personality and being the king of trainers and things like that, it was always like a nickname, and my friends just teased me with it. But if I believed in myself as much back then, I would have started it a lot sooner back then.
Yes.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense. Try to, because we're in the chocolate factory. I had a studio here selling trainers in the early 2000s. You get what I mean? I would have probably done that in the 90s and actually opened a shop and done all those things and be like, yo, I'm the king, and just really just go through it back then. So these are the things I would have told myself. Just have more belief in yourself when you're younger. But when you're younger, you have to build it up, innit? You have to build up to that.
Yeah.
Because you feel that, everyone's opinion and all that sort of stuff. But now I go to parties with a crown and a robe on my head. Yeah. I don't care.
I'm a king. I'm a king.
That's it. Facts.
I think that's
so yes. I think first of all, we'd like to thank you for coming on.
No, it's all good anytime.
You know, this was a very, very in-depth and lovely discussion we've had with yourself.
No, thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Jay?
Yes. Where can people find you?
Oh man, Google me, Franklin Boateng, aka King of Trainers. AKA the King of Trainers. Instagram, all the social platforms at King of Trainers.
Yeah.
Or Franklin Boateng, you'll definitely find me. But yeah, I'm around.
Before you go as well, I'm sure you're as you said, you're a social media person. What sort of social trends are you seeing?
Okay.
And how will they affect people in the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so the social trends I'm seeing is the whole IRL thing. So people don't know the IRL is in real life thing. Yeah. In real life. So the IRL. Yes, it's the new buzzword. IRL, innit? So now I don't know if you may or may not have seen around, people who are watching and yourselves, is there's people going around DJing with a camera facing them and they're DJing on the street. So that's you've seen it. So that's what you call in real life streaming. So they're literally walking around with this attachment to them with like 2 decks and they're DJing.
Yeah.
There's a guy who does it on a bike as well. He's like a DJ bike and he MCs and he just rides around and he's literally streaming himself while he's doing all of that. So the streaming side of things is gonna get really bigger. You have people like Kai Cenat, the black streamer on Twitch, and you have Aiden, who's on Kick and all these different platforms. So this whole in real life streaming thing, where people will just be streaming their lives in a more prolific way and let people watch, will become probably bigger in different ways, unique ways. So that's kind of where I feel a lot of things will kind of...
But I don't know if you've seen Black Mirror. Does that remind you of Black Mirror?
Oh, I saw the clip you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, everything evolves. Like, you see, with social media has allowed glimpses into people's lives.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Definitely.
Before, people had to write to each other and then it came to texting each other. But now people want to see where people are at most of the times and things like that. Do you get what I mean? So it's very much gonna be something that and it's crazy. You're gonna feel that, what's the point of me doing in real life streaming? Soon you're gonna question yourself like
Can you see yourself going down that route?
Yeah, 100%.
You're very much out there when it comes to social media.
No, so I what I would do, you see what it is, you have to control your narrative, right? What I would probably do is just focus on the time where I'm doing that. Okay. Not where I have to do all the time for everybody.
Yeah.
But just focus on the time when and where I'm okay.
Yes.
This is my time, because it's a bit like when Twitter came around and Twitter was 140 characters and people said, why would I join a platform where I can only write 120 characters? Then 300 million went on Twitter. 300 million people on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then Instagram came around. Yeah. Why would I join a platform where I could just post still pictures? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Then 1 billion people join.
Yeah.
The same thing with TikTok.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, these kid platforms, they're singing and dancing.
This silly dances.
And then there's 2 billion people on there. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It always starts off where everyone's like, I'm too old for this and all that. And I want to also say something. I know this is for entrepreneurs, young and old. You shouldn't let your age be a dictate how you should do things.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? I'm older than most, but I'm a trainer fanatic. I'm very well respected in the footwear world. You're saying, so people that, but you wear trainers and but yeah, that's what I love. That's what I love doing, and my age doesn't restrict me from what I do. I dress like a teenager. Do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, I'm just like, yeah, let me just get on with it. Like, it's not things are not designed just for one age group. So just feel free to be really, go for it, type of thing. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on. And then this is changing the narrative. And
Yes.
I'm Godwin once again.
And I'm Jay.
And see you on the next one.
Thank you. Peace.
Thank you.